I believe you have been doing the practice regularly and also listening these principles. We have covered the first principle, first step, to acquire the knowledge of self and the non-self. Not self is the material world outside. And the self, which we say the real self, is what is I am. Simple example can be given at any moment in life. I drink tea. So there is I, there is a tea, and there is an action. So I am not tea, even though I am drinking it. I am not the car, even I am driving it. That is the first major difference. And I know tea, but the tea does not know me. I know tea, I know car, but the car does not know me. So the biggest difference that I am conscious being, car is not. I am conscious being, tea is not. Look at it. I am and the world outside. That is not only the beginning of the journey of the self-discovery that brings an end to the suffering. You see, we directly went to the highest goal. It brings an end to the suffering. And it also awakens to my true nature, full of permanent peace and happiness, love and truth, and wisdom. And it is so simple, and yet it is too difficult. It is so simple. As I speak, I see the room, but the room does not see me. So can I separate the world outside from who am I? I am the body? No. I see the body, but the body does not see me. I see means I know, I can know the body, but the body does not know me. Even the sense organs do not know me even when I use them. Similar, like a car. So when the mind lives in that wisdom, then we can come to the second step. We have 4 steps in the beginning. The first is to we acquire the right knowledge of the self and the right knowledge of the world. Why? So once I have a right knowledge of the self, that is I am, and the not self, then I can apply that knowledge in day-to-day life. And when I apply that knowledge in day-to-day life, that knowledge applied becomes power, changes my life. I gain the skill sets of driving a car. I know the rules of the road. I have a driving license. It gives me a freedom for going to places. Now apply the same. So this knowledge is that knowledge which brings an end to the suffering. The rest of the knowledge is nothing but the skill sets. One master says there is a huge text known as Vishnu Purana. That is the knowledge, means that is the right knowledge, that is the knowledge of the self which liberates us from the suffering. So now we understand this knowledge. Good. We know there is the two things in the world. What is that? There are two things in the world. The self and the non-self. The worldly knowledge and the knowledge of the self. So as we will progress, we will understand many other steps. Total of 40 steps, not a big deal. But as we go on understanding these 40 steps, the life, you can live your life as a family, personal, professional life, and still you can live into that state of meditation. That is what we are working on it. And we should always understand that this journey, always understand the 3 steps. I don't know, let me know it. I don't understand, let me understand it. I do not experience, let me practice it. So now the time has come to apply this knowledge in day-to-day life. So day-to-day life, I have to perform action, whether by thinking, speaking, or acting, working. So the second step says, know the duties and responsibilities and perform them consciously. That is known as the path of karma yoga. Knowledge gained in the first step should be applied in daily, professional, social, and family lives. The knowledge applied is knowledge realized. And the knowledge realized rewards us with the fruits of actions. See that? I work for you and I am paid. You work for someone or you work with your skill set, you are self-employed, you are paid. So that is the fruit of your action. You go and prepare a tea. Reward is, you taste it good, you like the tea, you drink it, you feel good. But there is a danger of working habitually and mechanically. As mind may change its objective, build ego and crave for fruits of an action, it will make mind impure and insane. That leads to conflict, confusions, anxiety, jealousy, hatred in life. Did you understand what I'm talking about? That I perform an action, I'm guiding you, you appreciate me, and your appreciation is genuine. But I build an ego over that appreciation. That causes the conflict. The action outside in the world should develop will inside the mind. Every action should purify the mind. Now what I am saying? Now see what the principle is saying? That I do not keep my mind on the results of an action, neither on the results of an action nor on building the ego. But where I should keep the mind? Where I should keep the mind? I should focus the mind on the activity that I am doing. So what will happen? It will purify the mind. Every work or action in the world outside should guide us to focus energy, then dissipating the energy. The step 2 guides us to live and work in life with a tremendous focus on the work for the sake of gaining perfection, as a play, as a fun, free from fruits of an action and ego, and free from the restlessness, anxiety, conflict, and confusions. The dangers of worldly life increase when motives changes to so that prompts the action towards pleasure seeking, power, possession, to claim that we are separate from the rest of the world. You see, as a mom, I have been doing this for you and still you do not listen to me. Doing something for your children is one thing, and whether they listen to you or not, that is totally different. They have their own life. When we discover the right ways and means of working and acting in the world, we start removing the ignorance in the mind. Replace it with wisdom. When wisdom shines in the mind, all our actions are like play and the fun. Entire life becomes a celebration. We are understanding the second step clearly. So the secret of the step 2 is unfolded when we apply this knowledge and perform action for the sake of action. The mind enjoys the freedom. The intellect lives in clarity and will continue to increase, enhance the experience of peace and happiness in life. The fear, failure, and frustration are absent. Do you remember? We all know that Edison failed thousands of times before he succeeded in inventing many great gadgets or things. So now see that we want to apply the knowledge in action. So action is known as karma. So action driven by the right knowledge makes every action as a play and a fun to perform. Repeating again, every action driven by the right knowledge makes that action as a play and a fun to perform. Can you make a cup of tea for me? Yes, sure. You are enjoying. Oh, someone asked you why. Because you have a right knowledge behind that action. Do you have a right knowledge behind when you take action in relationship, in personal life, in professional life, in social life? That is the key. The action is driven by a motive in the mind, and motive is driven by the knowledge in the mind. How simple. For every action, there is a knowledge behind it. And if there is a right knowledge behind every motive and action, results will be peace, calm, joy in life. If action contain a wrong notion or a false knowledge, the action will lead to pain, sorrow, and suffering. So what we are understanding, that the moment you start performing an action, any action, in family, in personal, in professional life, so mind is focused on the very action in the present. You are not looking for the result in the future, nor building ego. You are not doing ego out of, say for example, you do the accounting, I have done the accounting for you. You do not know it? No. That should never happen in your mind. The mind must focus on your profession. What is that? That is your accounting. As if you are doing it for yourself, as if you want a more proficiency, as if you are doing as a play and a fun. Like a Hollywood actor who performs their different roles and they come out of their role instantly. Problem is that we do not come out of our role, and that causes lot of problem. So it means you are redefining karma based on the knowledge. You wake up in the morning, the knowledge should be there. Let me take care of the body. And we know how to take care, going to the restroom, taking a shower, whatever it is. So you are using that knowledge, you are aware of that. When we redefine action, motives in the mind, and intent for doing any action in daily life, it will purify the mind. So in moving to the higher journey of meditation, my mind should be pure. And when we do not know the principle, we keep generating and accumulating impressions that causes suffering in personal, professional, social, and family lives. So here, in order to perform an action outside, we change the wrong to the right perception. And that perception changes by understanding, by the knowledge. And to make it permanent, we need to practice. So continue doing that practice. We will change the practice next week. Karma is life, means action is life, and the life is action. There are many actions or karma done daily. Essential activities of life like bathing, clearing bowls, eating, cooking food, talking, writing, special activities related to profession, social and family activities. Take an example of a Hollywood actor. Performs a role of a criminal. He receives the right knowledge, plot, people associated, and the result. But he performs the role He plays the role without any binding desire for fruits or linking to the ego. Still outside, both appears same. This secret is revealed by our great masters of yoga. The law of karma is not applied to the animals. Now see the other point. Why? They don't have an I-ness. Because ego is absent. Now go little slowly. Effects of karma in daily life. So, we will see the effects little later. Now, if we classify the different types of karma, different types of actions in our life, it becomes easy to live. First thing, that you eat your food. So you don't build ego over the digestion of the food. Why? You eat your food and the food is digested by the system. So we don't need to build our ego. See that? Drinking a glass of water, that is also an action. We don't build an ego over it. So I-ness is not associated with it. We don't say, hey, I have taken lunch or dinner, don't disturb me. No, I need time to digest the food. Similarly, actions like breathing, beating of the heart, blinking of the eyelids are involuntary. So we don't build an ego. We need to check and become aware of the involuntary actions are no doubt essential, but mind remains free from ego and craving for the fruits of an action. So such actions do not generate any merit or demerit. Neither they create any sense of attachment or detachment. See that. Lot of activities, we lose that awareness. These actions take place naturally, and hence there is no sense or doership while performing these actions. We perform voluntary karma with ego and the seeking of fruits of the desire behind the karma in the mind. Who takes the decision to perform any activity in the personal, professional, and social life? It is your intellect. And if the intellect is clear, it has the right knowledge, then what happens? Then your action is performed with as a play and a fun. We are coming slowly to understand. These concepts needs to be understood clearly. Before we classify the different types of action. Our master says that for every action, there is a fruit. There is a result of that action. And that result comes to us in pairs of opposite. You have a good intention to talk to your son, David. You have a good intention. You talk to him. You want him to change. Your motive, your intention, your action, everything is good. And he says, no, nothing doing, Mom. What happens then? even if you have a good intention, the right motivation, and you acted rightly, calmly, and still the result is not as expected. Why? For every action, the results are always in pairs of opposite. Look at the Jesus, performed the right action, crucified. So when he got crucified, what about us? So what is the principle? That for every action, there are results in pairs of opposite. Either you get profit and loss, you have pain or pleasure, you have insult or appreciation. It is twofold. Success and failure. Understand, the invisible fruits of an action are, these are the merits and demerits. Why it is merit? If the David appreciated you, so you accumulate the good impression, and if he rejects your action, then you accumulate pain and duality. And we need not to move towards these results of an action. So the intellect with the right thinking follows the right action. So now we come to the great secret of karma. Types of karma. We have, during our lifetime, we perform 5 types of karma. 5 types. What are the 5 types? First is known as the nitya karma. Nitya karma means that we do daily. Nitya karma means the action that is performed daily. So our master says, consider them as a prescribed action. Prescribed means they are the duties and the responsibilities of a person depending on the condition, family, relationship, profession, and external factors. So nitya, the word means daily. The daily action should be done regularly, without fail. Otherwise, non-performance of them causes problems, results in distraction, anxiety, pain, and the suffering. We are understanding, we will come, but as you are listening, your mind may pick up, oh, this is what the daily karma is. So I'm approaching to that. So the performance of daily action leads to calm, peace, relaxation, focus, goodness. And the performance also helps in removing defects in the personality, destroys negative attitude and behavior. The master carefully declares that performance of daily action does not bring any reward in life. See that. That's very important. You're going to the restroom, that is an action. It does not bring any reward to you. But it must be done. And if you don't perform that, then what will happen? The demerit comes. But if you perform, you don't get a reward. So that is what the daily action in the personal life. How to recognize that? I am a teacher. What is my duty? The moment I come to you, I start talking about those principles. I don't waste any time. I focus on my subject matter. So now find out, when you are a teacher, our duty is to teach and give that knowledge. So what is very important? that I focus on the teaching and guiding you without expecting the fruits or building my ego. So when we perform, the action is a duty without fail and with a focus on the karma, with the mind free from ego and desire, the action becomes a play and a fun. As if you are playing a role. We all play different roles in different life. We are working on the first type of action. We all play different roles in our daily life as a father, mother, wife, husband, son, daughter, employer, homemaker, teacher, student. So daily action means action must be done with a focus on the action. You are a student, your duty is to study. You are an accountant, your duty is to do the accounting with a focus on the accounting clearly. Don't attach anything with this action. Just start doing it in a day. That your focus is not on, she will appreciate me. I have done all the accounting. I am doing all the... No, not at all. But your mind will always think of the fruits of an action. I have done something to the David. I have done something to my daughter or son or brother or sister, whatever it is. No. When you are clear, this action should be done and you do it. Do it with a focus on the karma. The daily action also includes cleansing, hygiene, physical and mental well-being, performing duties in the personal, professional, social lives. Clear? The second type of the karma is known as the occasional actions, occasional duties. When we are living in a society, should be done carefully with same attitude in the mind. So what are these occasional duties? They are occasional duties like going to the hospital. You have been going to your mom. It should be done with clarity of the mind that this is not going to reward me in any case. Even if your mom is not listening to you, you made it. It is my duty. It is my responsibility. I have to do it. I will do it in peace of mind. Finished. I will do it. See that? I understand you discussed with me about your mom. Never go to your mom with the assistant living with an intention that will give me some reward. So what we are understanding, these two type of actions, the daily action and the occasional actions, that if we do it with a focus on the action without expecting any result, I don't get any reward. But if I do not perform, the non-performance punishes my mind. I feel bad. I go into anxiety. You see that? That needs to be clearly understood. They are occasional duties, What? Going to the hospital when the near and dear ones become sick. Any celebration organized by their friends. Your son invites you for any event. Yes, let us come. But don't keep any burden in the mind. Oh, let me go. Now comes the third classification of action. The third classification is that it means desire-ridden actions in daily life. When we put the burden of desire, projecting happiness outside in the world for doing any action in the world, and we not only we fail, we frustrate ourselves, we enter into anxiety, and it also builds our ego. No, without expecting a result from any action, how can I live in the world? Any action that you perform, the reward is bound to come, but your mind is free from that. Do you see that? And look at the action. Action is in present, the reward is in future. And the expectation of appreciation is also in the future. So I perform an action with an expectation of appreciation from others. The mind is always outside. That causes lot of problems. From today, don't allow the mind to enter into a desire-ridden action in your family, in your relationship, in your professional life. Focus on the action. Mind should be free from the fruits of an action. And no ego, no I-ness. So you get rid of the third type of action, which is desire-ridden. What is the fourth type of action? I have a wonderful friend, young friend. He says, I drive over speeding on the highways. But why you do it? I enjoy. I said, these are the categories of the karmas. We have a responsibility on the road when we are driving. No, but I'm young, I have got. I said, okay, I have no problem. He got 5 tickets in a month. After 6 months, the insurance provider cancelled the insurance, saying that we cannot continue giving you the insurance. He went to the second and they charged heavily. After a year and a half, the guy is very calm. He never talks about it. He talked once that, no, now everything is okay. I have understood what you were saying before. That comes under the fourth category of action, which we say prohibited actions. The way the social system, the society, the professional life, the rules on the road, I follow them. What is prohibited action? That I should not overspeed. What is prohibited action at the workplace? Think of it and apply that. Don't take anything personal at the professional level. There is any other prohibited actions like, texting while driving, picking phone every minute to check. You are already into anxiety, hurting others, rash driving, criticizing people without any reason, blaming, complaining and reacting. No, drop all that. So understand that when we perform a wrong action intentionally, like the rash driving, so a great seeker, he has already performed an action of a rash driving, but a great seeker returns home and understands that is not good. He contemplates and reflects and removes those craziness of right driving. That is our second step. Listen to it again and again and understand that. So once you have an understanding, then apply that from today. Now see that there are two parts of it. We have discussed action, fruit of an action, and ego. Life is action and action is life. We cannot do without action. And action is always in the present. So the mind should be free from desire of an action and expectation from that action. That builds the ego. But still I am doing an action where it should go. I will get a reward. If I am teaching you, I am getting a reward. One. And second is, simultaneously if I am building ego, because I am doing an action, everyone knows it. So here our master says that this body does not belong to you. Sense organs, mind, intellect, all come from the existence. It is because of the existence this body is there. Mind is there, intellect is there, sense organs are there. Luckily, we all have 5 sense organs are intact, functioning fine. So the master says, you should have an intent in the mind, aspiration in the mind, that all actions are coming from the existence and going to the existence. Do you know chemistry? We have hydrogen cycle, we have oxygen cycle, we have phosphorus cycle. Cycle means the oxygen undergoes many formations and again it becomes oxygen. The phosphorus, the lot of people and animals die and their bone goes in fragmented or mixed up in the soil, but the phosphorus is present there, and from that phosphorus again it goes into the plant and the animal, and whatever we eat it goes through our mouth, and that phosphorus cycle, a lot of cycle, oxygen cycle. So you see the existence, the seed becoming a tree, tree becoming a seed again. So we redirect all our actions and the fruits of an action to the existence. What is going to happen? That will open the mind inside to be absorbed into meditation. So our masters carefully crafted these steps so that the mind, any layer of the mind is not left to purify, to focus, and to guide the mind for the journey of self-discovery. Now see the other part of it. Another way to understand it. First, there is a desire. We discussed about it. Desire is nothing but seeking something other than me outside. So why I am seeking something other than me from outside? I'm not talking out of for necessity, but mostly when there is a desire. That means I'm seeking something outside me and projecting happiness there. Just take a simple example. You are hungry, you eat your food. Again you are hungry, you eat again, You are thirsty, you take a glass of water. You feel like taking a cup of tea, you take it. Again you feel it, you take it. There is no problem. It's a kind of necessity. We say need. Every day in the morning we go to the restroom, shower. All these are need. Does it create any problem in the mind? No. So we separated need from the desire. Desire, we start seeking something in the mind, and that causes, and we project the happiness. So what happens? It causes the attachment and detachment. We like something attached, we dislike something detached. Now, disliking and the disliking causes the mind to remain agitated. I didn't get the desire for, I didn't get the fruit of my action, and it continuously builds our ego. So our master says every time, you heard the proverb, let thy be done. You perform an action. Without the fruit, without the ego, once you have performed the action, think in the mind, let thy be done. This action is done for the sake of the existence and finished. Like, I guided you for the sake of guidance, for the sake of the existence. It came from that existence and it is going to that existence. When that happens, what is going to happen? You perform these actions on a single day with that thinking in the mind. Nothing has to be changed outside. And when you sleep on your bed in the night, you will find that mind is totally free. The mind as if is already in a meditative state. So the third step, when we offer all our actions mentally, you need not to do anything outside. So mentally you think in the beginning, and then you will become aware. So the step 3 breaks the shell of ego by offering all our actions at the altar of existence. The mind continues to recognize internally that we are the doer of actions. That builds and strengthens our ego. But when all actions are offered, performed by the center deep within, beyond ego, you will experience the body is bubbling with the same level of energy even after working for 12 hours. That is the. Now comes to the fourth one. Binding, I just discussed about the binding desire. Now I discussed about the need and the desire. So need is unbinding desire. Go to the restroom. That is also a desire. Drink a cup of tea. Also a desire. Going to the office. Working with a focus in my accounting and whatever the job I have. Need. Go back. Daily action needs to be performed in my professional side. So I'm doing the work for the sake of the work without expecting any result. And you start thinking, today I will perform this action in my workplace with complete focus. You're thinking in your mind, I'll not desire any fruit of an action. Just do like this and you will see the entire mind changes. So here there are two types: binding desire, unbinding desire. Binding means the desire that binds you, causes anxiety, duality, reaction. Why you are paying to your son? You just pay it and forget it. But before paying, you should be very clear in your mind. Your intention should be clear. That this gentleman has many failures and I am giving this money to him for a change in his life and also because he is suffering, and forget it. Don't get into panic or anxiety or a reaction if he does not perform. You have the resources, so you have given it. Done, finished. With that mind. Now see the situation. You are doing it with an ego, with a desire for seeking the result. He does not perform. So you get hurt not because of him, but because of yourself. My master used to say, take the world lightly. Though this world, our personal life, professional life, social life, family life, take this world lightly. Means no binding desire. So when you don't have that binding desire, the life becomes easy. And then we start evolving. Now see the journey. The first is, I know I'm a conscious being. My real nature is full of peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. So now, when I know it, so that should be translated into my thought, speech, and action. See, all the four steps working, all the four steps in action. Just take one example. So your son comes to your home, you welcome. Why? That becomes an occasional duty. What is that? Occasional duties must be done when anybody comes, and we have to welcome. That guy is a guest at home. Offer food, offer tea, because depending on the relationship you have, but without expecting a result. Now you're going to the office at a workplace. Oh, so much of accounting. Don't say that. Focus on the activity, on the action, without expecting a result, without building an ego. You will be surprised that you are totally absorbed in the work, and that absorption gives you the joy. And his son came, you offered tea and the breakfast, and internally in the mind you say, let thy be done. Thy will be done. Let it go to the existence. I have offered this cup of tea and the breakfast to the existence. I have offered my mind, my focus, my body, and my intellect to do this job at the workplace for the sake of existence. I'm not saying you have to do anything outside. Just think in your mind. So you have performed all the three. And the fourth will come automatically. Now your action is not attached to anything in the world. It does not mean that you don't live in relationship. Understand that. It does not mean that you don't live in relationship. Everything is as casual as it is. But the inner orientation is there. The mind is totally free. Daughter calls you, you didn't do this thing. How should I respond? Think of it. Oh, I did something and she's asking you did not do. Yes, my daughter, I will do it definitely tomorrow. You need not to worry. We don't create any friction. There is no issue. Why? I don't perform an action out of the ego. I'm not performing an action because of the desire for the fruits of an action. It does not mean you are not doing anything. You're doing everything as it is in your personal, professional, and social life, in your family life. But the orientation in the mind has changed. The mind is becoming free. So what exactly we are doing by these 4 steps? We are purifying the mind inside. But why we are purifying the mind inside? Because we want to absorb ourselves into a higher meditation. But why? To get the knowledge of the reality. But why? To live in permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. So pick up them since morning until you retire to the bed. We are performing one or the other action. So the very intent of the action, the motive of an action in the mind has changed. And there is no ego about any action in the life. So when that happens, you will see on the very first day, even if you succeed in 50%, you will experience a tremendous energy within you. Four steps. Knowledge of the self and the non-self, the world outside and I am. The world outside and I am. Because life is action and action is life. So action means any action divided into twofold. The voluntary action, involuntary action. Many actions are happening on it. So digestion of the food is happening. My eyes are open so I can see whatever comes in the front. Breathing, heart beating. We don't build our ego and you see that my heart is beating. And then other actions is divided into the daily action I must be doing as a duty, as a responsibility. So when you feel that duty and the responsibility for your professional life, for your personal family has to be done, but without any desire for it and without building an ego and offering that action, do you know that you will be born in US? Do you know before that you'll be born with such parents? Do you know that you will have number of kids? Do you know that one kid will do much better than the other? So why to identify? Why to build an ego unnecessarily? Think of it. So with that grand planning of the existence, we say, let me perform the action with a focus as a duty and responsibility, and I should maintain my awareness. Those actions should not be performed. Comes under prohibited action. I should not go to the rule of the law. No, I should not go against the rule of the law. How simple it is. So I should become aware. And so that my mind becomes free from the burden of anxiety, stress, and duality. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Let there be peace, peace, and peace in your life, my dear friend. Thank you.